A few days ago, I found myself in a corporate training situation where I was leading the training for about 50 physicians from all over the United States who work in very high profile executive level positions. And it was a training on contextual intelligence, which is what my research and some of my professional interests are in. And during that training, one of the things that I do is I asked these physicians, what are some of the things that you need to pay more attention to that you normally wouldn't or have kind of ignored over the years? And much to my delight, one of the physicians, actually the very first physician who volunteered information, raised his hand and was like, well, for one thing, I'm going to pay much more attention to my athletic trainers and invite them in on much more of these crucial and critical conversations that we have that involve our practice. And what was neat about that is this particular physician actually owned and managed a sports medicine center facility that employed over 24 athletic trainers. And what was interesting is he actually went on to comment and says, before I heard you speaking and before you engaged us with what you're doing here, I've never even considered an athletic trainer anything other than a source of referral for my business, for my orthopedic practice, as well as just people who, tape ankles and do triage, out at the local high schools. And now that I've seen you interact and see how you've developed this content and how you've delivered it, etc., I now, he didn't say it quite like this, but this is paraphrasing. He said, I now have a much higher opinion of athletic trainers, and I recognize now that they have a lot more to value, add a lot more value than I ever realized they could. And that was a delightful moment for me, an incredible surprise. All the other physicians kind of nodding in approval, so to speak, some who still didn't know what athletic trainers were because of their specialty and practice area, but many did. And what was so great about that is the fact that for years I have been a proponent of athletic trainers going beyond the athletic training room and actually doing the things that we do outside of the traditional sports medicine context. And when we do that, I've always believed and even reported and written about the fact that it promotes and advances our profession. Athletic trainers have a tremendous skill set that for some reason we keep relegated to the sports medicine domain, as it were, and very rarely do we go outside of that. And what I have always believed, and I believe this example that I just told you demonstrates the fact that when athletic trainers engage outside of that setting and bring our skill set to the table, it actually does promote and advance the profession of athletic training. And here I hope was just one example of that actually taking place. And hopefully the athletic trainers who work for this particular physician group will benefit from the fact that their employers encountered an athletic trainer outside of the athletic training traditional sports medicine setting and walked away with a much higher opinion of what an athletic trainer can do and is than they had before. Put your skills to use, your non-clinical skills that have clinical significance to use outside of the traditional setting, and just watch and see how much the profession of athletic training benefits from that when we practice our expertise and our leadership and our capacity to influence outside of those traditional settings.